Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Seekers of the Supernatural. I'm your moderator, Tony Spera, and tonight we're speaking about all things otherworldly, supernatural, and ghostly. That was from my television show with Ed and Lorraine Warren back in the 90s. I always introduce myself as the moderator. I love how I can speak perfectly until I get on camera, then my throat gets dry. But anyway, I want to thank everyone who came out to our Paracon, our Warren's Seekers of the Supernatural Paracon back in October. It was on October 30th and 31st at the Courtyard by Marriott in Waterbury. I met so many great people there. I mean, we had over 2,000 people who came to see us and to come to the vendors and buy things at the tables, to listen to our guest speakers, we had about 8 guest speakers, and to see our artifact room, which of course had the Annabelle doll, the Shadow doll, the satanic worship idol, and the crocodile or the creature from the Devil Made Me Do It case from the book The Devil in Connecticut. It was a big success, and I'm very grateful to have met all of you there. I don't know if I met every single person, but a lot of people came up to me and wished me well and said that they saw my YouTube channel, which blew my mind. I didn't know I had that many people who really watched my channel and then came to the Paracon. I mean, I know I have about 300,000 subscribers, which is not a lot in the big world of YouTube, but I guess it's not so bad either, you know. So I'm happy about that. But what I want to talk about today is about us as people, about the paranormal realm, and about what happens to us after we die. You know, a lot of people ask me, do we really go somewhere when we die, or is it just no existence any longer? Well, no one knows 100% for sure. That's why we have something called faith. You have to have a faith in the spirit realm. You have to have faith in God, in the devil. I don't have faith in the devil. I have belief in the devil, of course, not faith. But, you know, the whole thing is that I believe we were put here on this earth to learn more about God. Because God is such an intricate and complex being. He made us the same way. We're intricate and complex also. Like all the people I met at the Paracon, they're all different. They're all different, yet they were the same in a lot of ways. They're all different personalities, looks, characteristics, but they all have emotions that are just like yours and just like mine. They have love emotions, hate emotions, feelings of joy and sorrow, anger, jealousy, envy, all those things. And I do too, and so do you. And I think that we know that God wants us to work on those things, work on the bad ones, the envy, the jealousy, the greed, the hatred. Why? Why does he want us to do that? Why didn't he just create us to be great people to start with? Well, you can't learn if you're already at the top and you already know everything. You can't shape your destiny. You can't shape what's to come. And God gave us free will. He gave us free will to be who we are, to do what we want to do. But all the time in the background, he's hoping that we follow his lead. He gives us the free will to do what we'd like to do. But he also wishes that we follow his will. And there's the big key right there. Because he gave us that free will, we are all different people. Like the people I met at the Paracon, who are so different, but yet the same in a lot of ways. Where do we go after we die? Do we go to heaven? Do we go to hell? Do we go nowhere? Do we go to 6 feet of earth underneath us? Yeah, we go to 6 feet of dirt. That's our physical shape. Our physical body goes there. But our consciousness, our spirit, our soul. Call it what you will. That never perishes, that never dies. Your consciousness is not going into the ground. Your consciousness will rise above your body. It'll leave your body and go to what we hope is heaven for you. It could go somewhere else. It could go to a bad location too, which is some people call hell. Now, is hell a place of fire and brimstone? I don't think so. I don't think that God in his great mercy would do that to someone the way that we think of it. We can't put into words what hell is. We can't put into words what heaven is. We know that heaven is bliss, heaven is joyousness, it's eternal love, and we know that hell is the opposite of that. So is it fire and brimstone? I don't think it is. I think it's the absence of love, the absence of loved ones that you have lost, the absence of God's presence and God's mercy and God's love. So what does all that mean that I'm talking about today? Well, it's very simple. Treat other people with love. Do everything that you do from love. If you do it from a heart filled with love, you can't go wrong. You really can't. If you do things with a heart full of envy, a heart full of jealousy and greed and carelessness and selfishness about other people, that's not a pathway, I don't believe, to heaven. I think that's a pathway to the dark side. And, a lot of people are intrigued by the dark side. That's why there's witchcraft and that's why there's Satanism. Those people have a lot to learn. Perhaps that in their journey they'll learn that it's not the place that you want to go to. It's not the path that you want to follow. You have to be, I believe, pure of heart to get to God's presence. And when I say pure of heart, I mean a heart that's devoid of hatred, that's devoid of jealousy, and devoid of envy and anger and aggressiveness. Our country is in dire straits right now. I'm not going to get political about it, except to say that I've never seen such division in all my years on this planet, and I've been here a long time. Division and the recklessness and the carefree attitudes of a lot of people, and the me attitude. It's me first. What I say goes. What I believe is correct. Well, you can think that way if you'd like, but that's not the way to live. You are all here to learn the lessons of life. What are the lessons of life? Well, as Ed Warren used to tell me a lot of times, he'd say, Tone, we're here to learn those lessons. We're not all going to learn them, and we're not going to learn them all the way, because to get there, you'd have to be God. But to learn those lessons such as love and compassion and kindness and forgiveness and generosity, those are the things that we should be striving towards. When I walk down the street and I see a homeless person, I always give them money. A lot of people say you shouldn't do that, especially people who live in big cities. Well, maybe it's understandable to a degree, but it helps my soul to help that soul in need. And I'm not trying to sound like a goody two-shoes, because I'm not a goody two-shoes, but I think I'm good. And I know how my belly is full at night when I go to sleep. I have all the food that I can ever want. I have things around me. Of course, I don't have everything I want, but because I'm not a millionaire, and most of you aren't either. But the little that you do have, that's even makes you even a better person when you give and you don't have a lot. In other words, if I have $10 in my pocket and I give $1 to the homeless person, that's pretty good. If I have $10 in my pocket and I give $5 to that homeless person, half of what I have, that's very good. But if I give them the whole $10, I think that makes me especially good, because I'm not thinking of me, I'm thinking of them. I'm thinking of helping a person in dire need. Now, what is he in dire need for? Is he in dire need for food or for drink? Maybe he wants to go get an alcoholic beverage, and that's where people make the mistake. I think they think, oh, you're enabling him to drink. You're enabling him to do this. Well, now you're judging, see, because you don't know exactly what he's going to do with that money, or she is going to do with that $10. Maybe they're going to give $10 to a young person who's starving, like their kid. You don't know. Maybe they're going to give it to charity. Maybe they're going to buy that bottle. Maybe they're going to buy a hamburger. Who are you to judge what they're going to do with a lousy $10 that you can't afford to lose? Because when you go to bed that night, your stomach will be full. And you know what? Your heart will be full too. Your heart will be full of love and a feeling of satisfaction for helping your fellow man, because I believe that because Jesus Christ and God created us, and we're created in his image, that we all have Jesus and God within us as we walk along. We are all God's children. So if we're all God's children, we should all be treated with great love and respect. That's what I believe. Now, we're going to have another Paracon coming up, and I am looking forward to meeting even more people. Because I think we're going to have the Paracon even bigger and better this time. We had over 2,200 people over the 2 days. That's a lot of people. We had some wonderful vendors. We had some great speakers, and everybody was happy with the artifact room that we had. And why do I do this? Why do I put on these Paracons? Is it to make money? Yeah, it's to make a few dollars. I don't work other than helping people when I'm doing my investigations and my team. I'm retired, and I don't make a lot of money outside of doing, say, Paracons or lectures. And I'll be perfectly honest, money's good, but it's also good to share it too. And I do share my money, and I share my time, and that's important. So I don't begrudge people who make a lot of money. I don't begrudge people who work for a living and make money. I did that for years and years and years, worked at a 9-to-5 job, and as a police officer at funny hours, weird hours. I've been broke. I've been okay, and I've had a little bit more money than normal, and then I've had less again. It's a wave, you know, it's a wave. But yeah, I made a few dollars doing the Paracon, but I think I also satisfied people too. My team, Dan Rivera, Chris Galoran, Jim Petnino, Rick Clark, and others who helped me put on this Paracon to give joy to other people. I mean, the vendors sold some good things and did some good readings that they did as psychics, and Reiki healings and things like that. Sold amulets and books. They made a few dollars too. The guest speakers came. I didn't even have to pay them. They didn't even want to get paid. I just paid for their hotel rooms, and they put on great shows, giving information and education to other people. But the money that we make from the Paracon, we use towards being able to go out and help other people, because we don't ask for funds. We don't go on investigations and say, well, we need $100 to come out or to assess. We do it for absolutely free. So if I have to spend money on food, gas, transportation, it's out of my pocket. It's not out of other people's pockets. So it all washes out in the end, where I'll have that few extra dollars to be able to go out 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 miles if I have to, and spend time with people and stay with them and buy my own food and buy our team's food. So that's what we do. That's what Ed used to do, Lorraine. They made their money on lectures, college lectures, and books, because they didn't work either. They spent full time helping other people. And so I think I'm doing something good for society. I think I'm doing something good for Ed and Lorraine's history, how they were. They were pioneers, and I think that pioneering effort that they had helped many, many thousands of people. And I hope to do the same. I haven't helped as many as they have, but I'm trying to catch them. I'm trying to catch up. And you know, at the Paracon, we had Arnie Johnson there, who was the young man that was in the book The Devil in Connecticut, where the book was based on the murder of a man, and it was accused Arnie of stabbing this man. And Arnie does not remember doing it. All he remembers is waking up in custody, handcuffed. You know, if you watch the movie The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, even Arnie will say it's about 5% accurate, 95% made up. You should actually read the book, The Devil in Connecticut. That's the closest one to reality, The Devil in Connecticut by Gerald Brittle. And you can get it on Amazon, and it's not expensive because it has been republished. It's not the original versions. It's the exact same book, but just a republished paperback. So I think you should check that out too. But you know, I care for you guys. I was humbled when I went to the Paracon. My teammates were humbled also at the love that was shown us, at the respect that was given us. And I don't even think we deserve that kind of adulation. You're almost taken aback when all these people come up to you and, hey, Mr. Spera, hey, Tony, could I have your autograph? Could I take a picture with you? I was very humbled because I'm not Ed Warren and I'm not Lorraine Warren. They were the best. I'm just a vestige of what they were. You know, they were absolutely the most knowledgeable people on earth that I thought on earth when it came to the paranormal realm, when it came to giving heartfelt advice, when it came to trying to assist people who are tormented and tortured. That's how I molded my whole philosophy from them. They taught me much. How to be a good person, how to be a generous person. Ed was more generous even than I am, and I think I'm pretty generous. He'd walk down the street, I'm talking 30 years ago, after a lecture or after we went to a diner to eat, and we'd be walking out of the diner and there'd be a homeless guy there looking through the garbage. I remember we walked out of the diner with full stomachs, and Ed would turn to Lorraine, because Ed never carried any money on him. He'd turn to Lorraine and say, Lorraine, let me have a 20. She'd give him a $20 bill, and he'd hand it to the homeless guy and say, here, go get yourself a sandwich. And I one time said to Ed, why'd you do that, Ed? Maybe he's going to go get a bottle. Remember, we talked about that. And he looked at me and says, who am I to judge? I don't care what he gets. It'll help him. That's all that counts. And he was right. When you help other people, it helps everything. In a small way, it helps the world. If everybody can do an act of kindness every day, I think it would go a long, long way. You know, next time you're on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or wherever you are on social media, my suggestion, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but my suggestion is to be kind, not cruel. Hold back on that snarky remark that you want to make when you read something that you don't agree with. You know, there's a lot that I don't agree with, but I don't make a remark. My father used to say, if you don't have anything good to say about somebody, don't say anything. And you know what? That's right. If you don't have anything good to say about someone, just keep quiet. Keep it to yourself. Because, you know, once you express those words, they can't be taken back. It's like firing a gun. Once you pull the trigger and the bullet leaves the barrel, you can't call it back and say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shoot you. Or I didn't mean to hurt you with those words. So please, try to take it from an old man, even though I don't feel old. Try to take it from a guy who's been around, that it's always better to be nice than to be selfish and cruel. I hope to see all of you guys at the Paracon, as many as I can. I really, really humbly appreciate all you folks who came out and shook my hand and asked for an autograph and a picture. It was humbling, to say the least. I was tired at the end of the day, but my heart was filled with gratitude and love. So until next time, it's Tony Spera, your moderator, from Seekers of the Supernatural Realm. Good night.